Come on, you guys can figure it out. I got confidence in you.
Okay, guys, you want to gather around.
Are you going to show us how
to go over the dog?
Yeah, we want to see how
The dentition.
I'm gonna
like us to examine.
Getting ahead of your
yeah. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a breed-specific exam on the first two, the dog and the bitch.
Okay.
And I'm also going to show you the bite, because obviously we can't go over the bites in here. So I'm going to take two, do the breed-specific exam, and then we'll go over, show you all the bites so you can see the dentition on the dogs, okay?
Okay.
Can you tell what sex and age each one is?
Yes. How old?
3-year-old male. 3-year-old male.
Male, A is a male 3. What do you got here?
2-year-old male.
B is a 2-year-old male?
Yes.
2-year-old male.
2-year-old fish.
C is a 2-year-old female. And D is also a 2-year-old female. All right. All right, bring him out here. I'm going to do an exam on him for the judges. Set him up facing this way. There you go. Bring him back a little bit. Helen, spin around, put him more towards the middle right here. Handler change. Yep, it's perfect.
Stop.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is get,
Can you do it from the other side so we can see what you're doing?
Oh, the way I'm setting him up?
No, I'm asking Jimmy.
oh, you want to turn the dog the other way? Sure. Yep, all right, let's go the other way. Spin him around, face him that way. There you go.
Javier, stop.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take the profile in. I'm going to see if I got a proportionally correct dog. I'm going to see if the dog's rectangular. Again, 10% point of shoulder to point of buttock. I'm going to look at the elbow. Is the elbow half the height of the withers? Okay, all that's correct on this guy. Shouldn't have told you that. But in any event, I'm going to look for the proportions correct. And then next, I'm going to look at the head. Is the head a nice large head? Is the head proportionally large compared to the body? At least 1/3 the height of the withers should be the length of the head. The neck should be equal. Okay, so my first shot is the dog proportionally correct on those 5 points. Okay, if it's not, then the details aren't quite as important if I don't even have a proportionally correct dog to start with. All right. So after I take that in, and I've come to the conclusion that either I do or do not have a proportionally correct dog, I'm going to come in front of the dog from over there. I'm going to come in front of the dog, let him see me. I'm going to come up to the dog. I'm going to introduce myself with my hands open to the bottom and say, hello, how are you? Okay. You don't have to put your hands on this dog a lot. Obviously, you can see everything you have to see. We've done a lot of long-coated breeds in this seminar, right? I can see everything on this dog I've got to see. But touch the dog as much as you feel you need to, okay? The other thing is that we talked about temperament. Let's make sure the dog is sound in temperament, okay? That doesn't object to being touched, all right? So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, show me the bite. And you see where I'm standing? I'm not standing here looking straight into the dog when he's going to show me the bite. I came to the side of the dog. Okay, show me the bite, please. Okay, sides. Okay, other side. Okay, and open. All right. So all of this I did from the side, and I can see everything from the side. I don't recommend doing it from the front, looking right into it. All right. I always do the bite first. Okay. Because the handler's going to show me the bite, and if the dog is not confident, I want to know that now before I start going over the dog. That's the time to find it out. So if it's a good dog, he's going to let you do the oral exam. Most of them are, okay? And you'll be okay from that point on, typically, all right? All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my hand on the shoulders and, you know, look at the shoulder, look at the elbow, look at the prosternum, just a typical exam. Again, the tail should be a handle. You see how that's a handle? Okay, shouldn't be docked off where it's no longer a handle. All right. That's pretty much it. Again, you can see everything you have to see on this dog. Look at the feet, and what have you. All right, so I want you all to be able to see the dentition, so let's bring them up here. Over here first, and we'll go down there. Bring them more to here, right there. All right. You'll let me show the bite? You want to show it? Okay. So you see how the incisors on the bottom are definitely in a straight line? The top ones are pretty much, except for these two outer incisors are starting to come back a little bit, but that's fine. What we don't want to see is on the incisors is this, especially uppers, being curved like that, like in other breeds, right? Non-brachycephalic breeds, mesocephalic breeds will have curvature. We don't want to see that. Okay, and again, we go to the canines, and if you look straight in, you can see the canines are diverging. I like to see a little bit more divergence than what the upper ones have, but they are diverging. The bottom ones are definitely diverging. They're not straight up and down or parallel, correct? They're diverging. So that's correct dentition for this breed. And of course, one more time, the other aspect is this guy is a level bite. He's trying to go undershot, but he didn't quite go undershot, okay? But it's perfectly acceptable. All right. You guys, yes?
Do you have a problem with interfering canines? Do you see that?
No. No, we typically have the gap.
Stop.
Typically have that gap that you see there. Okay, they're close. Yeah, they're close, but no, it's typically not a problem.
If you are missing teeth, what would be the norm?
P1s, but very,
Very
very rare.
Okay.
All right. Did you guys get to see?
We do a full open too, right?
Yeah, you have to count the teeth. It's more than 2 is a DQ, so you have to open the mouth. And it's tough to find the molars in these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not a problem. Again, missing teeth's not a problem. The standard says, makes you have to count the teeth for a proper oral exam. Do your best to count the teeth.
But don't
Okay.
stick your head in there.
Do your best. Do your best to count the teeth, but missing teeth's not a problem in this breed. That's all I'm going to say.
This breed, as they get older, do the gums, on some breeds, the gums come up and actually cover the teeth?
No.
Okay.
No, the incisors are pretty much visible the whole time. Yeah. All right, let's bring the female up here. Which one did I see the dentition on earlier? Okay. We'll do the breed-specific exam again, and then we'll show the dentition.
Stop.
All right. So even with him setting the dog up, I've already seen everything I have to see as far as proportions. I've seen the length of body. I've seen the point of elbow. I've seen the proportionally large head. I've seen the length of neck. I've already taken all that in now. So he's setting the dog up. So I'm going to come over here to the front. I'm going to look at the dog. I'm not going to stare in the eye, of course. I'm going to look at the dog. I'm going to come right up with confidence. I expect her to have confidence. All right. Show me the bite, please. All right. Sides. Okay. Sides. All right.
Stop.
Very good. All right. And again, I've already seen the prosternum. I don't have to touch it. I've seen the prosternum. I've seen the pointed shoulder. I've seen the layback. I've seen where the neck comes into the shoulder. I see the top line. And obviously I see everything in the rear. But I will go over the dog briefly. All right. Any questions on the exam?
I have one question that another judge taught me, because she does working breeds too. And she taught me with a larger breed like this, that is a little iffy maybe, to turn rather than go like this and like this, to turn your body and go like this to examine like that. So if you're going to get bit, you're going to get bit in the butt rather than the face.
Well, correct. And again, if you see where I am,
Right.
where I am on this dog, okay? When he showed me the bite, I had my hand above the withers the whole time. So I've already got a pretty good idea whether this dog's nervous or not, okay? And typically the problems that we have with a shy dog, the dog would be leaning away from you. The dog would be turning its head, wanting to watch you, looking sideways at you. So you're going to get a feel real quick if the dog is confident and stable, or it might be a problem.
Would it be okay? You're a lot taller than I am.
Can we just say
Would it be
the handler
okay?
take the head?
Absolutely. You can say to hold the head, but you don't ever want to ask the handler to clamp the muzzle.
Right.
Now the dog's done. Okay.
Yeah.
Even a confident dog's not going to want that. So you don't want the handler, clamping down on the muzzle. Okay. The dog. Again, if the dog is a problem, okay, if the dog is scared, skittish, yeah, you're gonna know and excuse the dog for unable to exam. I hate we don't have a fault for extreme shyness. We should have a fault for extreme shyness, like so many working breeds have a fault for extreme shyness. We definitely should have it. It's needed. It'll be beneficial to the breed. We don't have it, but if you have a shy dog, excuse it for unable to exam. Real easy, okay? All right, so let's show the dentition. Okay, so we have,
It's an even level.
that's a level bite.
Stop.
But we do have the incisors in a straight line, and you can definitely see the divergence of the canines are more divergent on this dog than the other dog, right? So that's what we want to see. I would like to see at least a reverse scissor, though, for me, for preference, to a slight undershot rather than the level. Do we have anyone here that has a undershot?
Yes.
Bring the undershot dog up.
But that's what I like, the smooth-coated breed, you can just basically look at
Yeah, you can see
is what you
everything.
get.
Yeah, you can see everything.
The only other thing is, if you're looking at him, you say, boy, that dog should be able to move, and then you want to see it move.
Of course. Yeah.
Sometimes they can't, even though they look like that.
Yeah. Sometimes they disappoint you when you tell them to move, no doubt.
And then you go, what do I do now?
Stop. Hold on a second.
Get them settled. Okay, you see the very slight undershot. You see the straightness of the upper and lower incisors. You see the divergence of the canines. That is an excellent bite for this breed.
I like that.
Yeah,
Would you shut the mouth? If you still see then it's too much?
yeah, you should never see with the mouth shut.
But is that kind of where we draw the line, or?
Well, at that point, if you see that, you're seeing it because the undershot is definitely more than a quarter of an inch. So when the undershot becomes more than a quarter of an inch, the other thing that happens is the mandible starts to get a lot of turn to it, a lot of scoop to it, okay? And you will start seeing the bottom incisors then. But when you see them, the undershot's too much.
The mouth's shut nice and it's
Yeah.
there and you got like a thumb, you just walk away.
Yeah,
That'd be
You
more
start
like
seeing
a
that.
toward boxer.
yeah, it's too much.
Would that be more like toward?
Correct. You're correct. Yeah, the boxer has a lot of. We have the boxer person here. Yeah, the boxer has a whole lot of undershot in comparison. But even with the boxer, you shouldn't see the lower incisors. So if you see the lower incisors, we got a mess, especially with this breed. Okay. All right.
Are you calling the bitch that you just, is that a dark gray?
Yes.
Okay, I was wondering what the color.
Yep.
And I see a little red,
Yeah, actually,
dark gray.
we call it slate gray.
Okay.
You know, the Italians will call that slate gray. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Did everybody get to see his mouth?
All right. All right. Let's get them back in line.
Who went first this morning, red or blue?
Red was this morning.
Red was first last time.
Oh, okay, then red this time.
No, I just wanted to use two for that. We won't. Now the judges are going to come in. They're going to do a breed-specific exam themselves. So the judges are going to rotate and examine the dogs.
Okay.
Okay. Then when they're done examining, we're going to move them. Yeah, stack them up. Put them in line. Put them in a lineup. Go ahead and move down a little bit. Go ahead and move down a little bit so they can get to the front of this dog better.
They rearranged the dogs from what
They're definitely mixed up.
We're definitely mixed
You might have
up
to
with
change it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a male. 3-year-old male.
What'd y'all do?
Oh, that's him.
Who did I first have?
You want this one?
Well, that's A.
Okay. This was A then? Swap dogs or armbands? Yeah.
Okay.
Swap dogs or armbands, one of the two.
And then it was a 2-year-old male?
Male, bitch.
That's how we started.
Do the top lines change as the puppies grow too, or no?
A lot of the puppies will be high in the rear
Okay.
as they grow. And then as an adult, again, it depends on the lines, but sometimes 12 months to as much as 18 months before they level back off. There's just certain angles in the breed that are important.
Now, on the females, it looks as though even though their trapezoidal muscles, they look narrower than the males. Is that typical?
That's typical.
It's a big box and a small box.
Correct. That's what
Yeah.
you should see. Typically the bitch's head will be a little bit more feminine per se.
Yes.
So that's part of the being a little bit more feminine, right?
Right. That 2-year-old male's a hoot, isn't he?
He's a ham.
Yes, he is. He's having a good time. That's what I like to see. Do you, Jimmy, do you ever examine for the muscular, the hardness of the musculature of the bone, or is it just what you see visually?
I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
How can you see a hardness?
I can see because I know a dog that's in shape and how they look compared to a dog that's soft per se. I know a dog that's in good condition just from all the years of experience with the dogs, all right? And you'll see it on the move too when you go to move them.
Well, I'm still, when you do the convergent planes, are you talking about a straight line up from the stop? I mean the 90-degree angle.
So the angle of the stop is no bearing on convergence. Basically, you're picking.
Yeah, it does.
You're picking a measuring point dead in the center, dead in the middle of that stop. So where the stop's 90 degrees or 100 degrees or 105 degrees, it will, of course, change that slightly. But again, to determine the convergence in that dog, you pick a measuring point that's in the middle of that stop.
And so what if it's slanted back this way?
Middle of that stop.
Middle of the stop.
In the middle. As it tilts, that point is still going to be in the middle of the stop.
I did awfully poorly in geometry.
And the Italians are real technical.
Right.
And I know you guys haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but one of the pieces of material I gave you was written by Antonio Morsani. He was one of the most technical, respected judges in Italy. He was assigned with creating the Corso standard. And if you read just the article on movement,
Right.
it's very educational, period, right? I mean, regardless of being breed specific, you know. But the Italians are very technical, so you'll see a lot of the angles, a lot of percentages and stuff are used in their standards. So this is A. He's moving A. We're not going to swap the armbands all the time. This is the only handler we have in here right now, per se.
That's why I went
So it's going to be obviously better for the handler to move the dog, okay? So we'll just call it as we go. This is dog A.
Right around 1.5 times stop over here.
So there.
Now the back force place.
His face, please.
Try to move him a little faster, so you can get him out of the pace.
Lift him up.
He goes from dead
I
stop.
need more room in this.
He's not a, so I just stack him.
All right. And see if you can get him out of it.
Okay, thank you. Let's start A. Now we'll move on to B.
Stop.
What dog is this?
B.
Okay, thank you. C. This is dog C. Girl C, actually.
It's CB, I mean, it's C bitch.
See, bitch? Yeah.
She's pacing. Thank you. This is she.
We're getting our money's worth out of you today.
You're gonna have to buy him a steak dinner.
I know.
Fourth weekend in a row.
Katie, that's what I thought.
She's galloping on you.
Stop.
And don't confuse that with growling on these guys, because they will snort and snarl and make all kinds of noises, but they're not growling.
Steve-ish?
I do have a question. Do you guys, I didn't see in there, I don't think we talked about it, addressed where you want your rib cage to end and you're going to begin?
It's not addressed, and thankfully it's not a problem. The loin, the coupling shouldn't be extremely long, it should be extremely short.
So medium?
Medium.
Moderate?
Correct.
It's like basically
Average.
a 2/3, 1/3.
Average, just average in that, and thankfully that's not a problem. Okay. Of course, when we become, if a dog's off square, then that's where you of course lose it, right?
Right.
So typically, if we're 10% longer from the point of shoulder to point of buttock, and typically that coupling is about a third. Tail set should be an extension of the back line, extension of the spine. We do have some tail sets that are a little bit low sometimes. Right. We do have some tail sets a little bit low, but it should be an extension of the spine.
That's all I see, that I don't know. Yeah.
It's really not that critical. Yeah. And obviously, even though that's a little bit low, the pelvic angle is not steep. Huh? Yeah. So that's part of it. You know, if I had a low tail set, I'm going to look and see if I have a steep pelvic angle, right? So if I have a slightly low tail set, but the pelvic angle is not steep, I'm not as concerned with it as if.
Ma'am, you've got no, sorry, you're going on. Oh, your ball. Oh, that's
I'm never in the ring before.
Oh, it's not her letter. We don't know which one.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Zoe, it's posted.
First gate should reach.
That's okay.
Jimmy, I need to know if I'm visually correct. Are both those girls high in the rear?
So
Their top line's not, well, obviously their top line's not.
right now they're not level. And he's not a handler. If he got those back feet right, we'd be in a lot better shape. The most important time to really look at the back line on a Corso is when it moves.
Yeah,
And when these guys moved, they pulled that back line straight. They had a straight.
You thought so?
Yeah. Yeah. So and you can see it now. It's getting a little bit better there for a minute. But her feet are up underneath her a little bit now, more than they should be. But it's not. It does have a little dip and rise after the withers. Okay, but it's not extremely.
No, but
bad by any means.
it
does have a little
but it
dip.
exists.
Right. It is definitely
So is
there.
this one. Is there's one of them that's taking little tiny
Barely.
steps. I think it was D.
Barely on that one. That one's a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, because on D, yeah, she's the one that was taking little tiny steps with her hind feet.
Yeah, the first three didn't want to move.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to move. And that one was excited. So that's
Exactly.
Because he's leaning on me. Is he leaning on you because he's uncomfortable? No, I
He's being lazy.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy?
To me, the conversions of all of them look about the same. Okay, is that a fair assessment?
Correct, yes. Actually, the consistency of type here is not what you would normally
You're
see.
telling me.
Okay? So the consistency of type here right now is very nice, very good.
Okay. But it looks like they're, angles are...
Yep, they're all good.
But there's some variation in head typing here, is that?
To a degree, we have muzzle lengths varying a little bit, right?
I see a little bit, I see some parallel planes and I see some of
They're,
Why not?
they're all convergent. They all have slight convergence, every one, yeah. One thing that is consistent on all four of them is the skull and muzzle planes.
The difference I see is the length
Of the
of muzzle
Yep.
to the top skull and the
Absolutely.
width of those. You see, I see a smaller box in like that girl than
And
the boys.
the length obviously affects that, right? Because if we're saying it should be as wide as long, if it gets,
okay.
shorter, it's hard for it not to be wider.
Right.
If it gets longer, then it's
Right.
hard for it not to be narrower.
Right. And the depth as well,
Correct.
that one's looks like it's got a longer depth, but then or a shorter depth than this one. I guess I don't know what after all these 3 days that's the ice cream man back home, that's for sure. Thanks for bringing him though. I enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you.
You speak Italian, obviously, right?
Parlare Italiano poco.
Very
Molto poco, molto terribile.
And you must have had a translator when you met that gentleman.
I did. Actually, the World Show dog winner that I showed you, Cano, 3 years in a row. That's Marion Chico. He's a good friend of mine. So he drove me over to meet Fernando.
Tremendous experience.
It was. The one thing that I regret the most was he showed me all the documentations, all the breeding records. I mean, he was a biologist, retired biologist. And the thing I regret the most was that he had photo albums, old Polaroids of all the dogs.
Yeah.
So I had a good digital camera with me, so I took picture after picture after picture of the photo albums. They all reflected, they all glared. So I wound up with no pictures. Yeah.
Okay, I think I see it.
Yep, doesn't take long.
Like when they're going around and seeing this little rise. Okay.
I'm mowing and grubbing and Joe.
interesting.